Hello, and welcome to our webinar on San Francisco's Kindergarten to College program, sometimes known as K2C. I'm Carol Lay. I'm the program manager for this program. Kindergarten to College sits under the Office of Financial Empowerment, which is under the Office of the Treasurer and Tax Collector of San Francisco. Our city treasurer is Jose Cisneros, and we opened this program for the city and county of San Francisco. If you're unfamiliar with the San Francisco Office of Financial Empowerment, we leverage the power of City Hall to strengthen the economic security and mobility of low-income families. We provide healthy financial products and services, financial education and information, encouraging savings and asset building, and combating predatory practices. Some of the things that you might have heard about OFE, what we've done, of course, kindergarten to college. You may be familiar with Bank On. That started about 10, 12 years ago. We sprung off of that, Bank on Youth, for our high school students who get summer jobs, maybe after-school programs, opening non-custodial accounts for them. And we also have financial coaching available. So we offer a lot of products, and again, our goal is really to help the economic security and mobility of low-income families. So let me give you a little background about San Francisco, and so you'll have a better understanding of how K2C fits in. So San Francisco is a city and a county. It's all overlaid on each other. It's 49 square miles. People talk about San Francisco being a rich city, but yet we have more than 1/3 of our African American population and 1/4 of our Latino households in San Francisco have zero or negative net worth. We have one school district, and the school district is separated from City Hall, not reporting to the mayor. It's governed by an elected 7-member Board of Education. We have a little over 54,000 students currently. About 55%, sometimes it goes up to 60%, but currently it's around 55 to 58% free and reduced lunch population, students who qualify for the National School Lunch Program. 82% graduation rate, which is higher than the state average, and we have about 29% of our students who are English learners. If you want to take a look at our ethnic or racial demographics of our students, the largest group are the Asians at 36%. Next comes the Hispanic or Latino population at 26%. Our white population in the school district is 13%, while the city's white population is approximately 48%. Our African American population in the school district is around 7%. If you're wondering about the low white population, approximately 27 to 30% of our student population in the city do not attend our public schools. They go to private parochial schools, and much of that, the white population, again, going to the private or parochial schools. So kindergarten to college. We started in the spring of 2011. We launched the first universal incentivized children's savings account program in a public school system in the country. So the first 2 years were pilot years for us. And that first year, about 25% of our schools and students received a kindergarten to college account for their kindergartners. The second year, half of the kindergartners in the school district received accounts, and it wasn't until the third year in the 2012-2013 school year that 100% of our kindergartners received K2C accounts. So we automatically open a savings account for every child entering kindergarten, seated with $50. Our goals at the time really was to create a college-going culture, and I'm sure you've heard many of the statistics and the numbers that children with a college savings accounts are much more likely to go to college than if they didn't have that savings account. We want to reduce financial exclusion, making it universal so that all our students would have an account. Again, we have a lot of students in San Francisco are born into families with no savings or assets of any kind. We also want to increase financial capability or financial education or literacy. So we've been working with the school district, incorporating financial education into the classroom and sort of making it so that the kids can do something immediately with that knowledge. When we started the program, it was very important for us to really take a look at the key features that would make a successful CSA program. And we've been trying to figure out how to do this, and we think it's working really well for us. We have auto enrollment. Children are enrolled by default. So it's really removing those barriers such as inertia, because you hear a lot of families who say, I plan to open an account, I want to save, but they never get around to it. And also, there may be costs to opening an account for many families. So we can get past those. We want to make it universal. All kindergartners in the school district, including those who are undocumented, unbanked families, or those living in foster care or who may be homeless. We want a public sector support, so the city committed $50 for the seed deposits to open these accounts. They also, or we, the city, provide an additional equity deposit for accounts of students from low-income households, and also provide some basic operating expenses. We were looking at multiple funding sources, making this a public and private initiative. Private funds from donations and funders, grants, provide a lot of our incentives. So the incentives are to get the family started on a path of savings. We're finding that these incentives really drive the parents to act. We also, and it's very important to us, to really think about that multiple deposit options. We're asked many times why we didn't go with a 529. We have a savings account with Citibank. Many because of the cash. We have a cash economy, a lot of low-income, unbanked families. If you're unbanked or in the cash economy, you have a very difficult time with 529 accounts. We wanted people who had cash, small deposits, whether it's $1, $5, to be able to make the deposits into their accounts. Very difficult with 529. So with the multiple deposit options, families can go into a local branch, direct deposit, online banking, and bank by mail. We can't do this alone, so there's partnerships in making this whole program work. And so here are our key partners. Of course, it's the Treasurer's Office. That's where kindergarten to college sits. We do the bulk of program design, implementation, and administration. So in other words, we really do most of the work running the program. We open, close the accounts. We manage the accounts. Families who've lost their account number come to us. They have questions about their account, whether a deposit went in, they come to us. So most of it is channeled through the Treasurer's Office into the K2C program. San Francisco Unified School District, the school district plays a huge role. They're responsible for school site administration. Our superintendent has asked each school to identify a staff member, it could be a principal, family liaison, a teacher, to be a school site ambassador who is trained on K2C and to help with the program, spreading the word, at least being the first line of defense for questions, if they can handle it at the school. They also provide the financial education, and they provide K2C with the data that we need to open the accounts. Citibank stepped up as our financial partner. They hold the funds in the accounts for us. They have also provided us with a management and parent portals. So our management of keeping track of the accounts, how much is in there, what we've done, everything is controlled under this management system that they've built for us. Parents can also sign in, log in, and see their account balance and see how well they're doing. We also have nonprofit financial partners that have been working with us. EARN is our fiscal agent. Prosperity Now, formerly known as CFED, has been with us since day one, helping us fundraise, bringing in the funders and donations, especially now with the one-to-one fund, running campaigns with us in helping us bring some funds in. And we work with local community-based organizations. They assist us with outreach and engagement with the parents, and they're more knowledgeable on the streets with the families, with the community who can really help us out. And we'll go into a little bit more about how they're doing and how they're working with us. We're asked a lot about funding and our budgeting. So the city provides funding for the seed deposits and the equity deposit for the National School Lunch students, a little extra bonus. They provide staffing, 3.5 full-time equivalent, and general administration. And it comes from the general fund, the city general fund. And every year it goes into the budget, and the Board of Supervisors approves, and that's how we get our funding. We get less than $1 million per year. It's about $900,000, and including, again, staffing. Private philanthropy really funds the incentives, funds our outreach and marketing. Be honest, it's sort of a challenge trying to figure out our budget, how much we're going to have, how much our donations, what can we count on. Citibank manages the accounts at no cost to us, so we've got a great deal with them. We really appreciate them. In addition, they provide that in-kind support to create and maintain that online portal for us. All right, the basics. So every child entering kindergarten class or a K2C program year. So in other words, if a family moves in while their child's in the 3rd grade, that child gets an account also. So currently it's all K through 6 students, 50% of our 7th graders and 25% of our 8th graders. Those were our pilot years. They come into the school district, they'll get the account. It's seated with $50. An additional $50 deposit is provided to the accounts of students who are eligible for the National School Lunch Program. That's that equity deposit that we have right now. One caveat there is the families do need to sign a release of information form, otherwise known as a consent form. Since that's confidential information, they have to give the school district permission to release that information to us. There are no fees to the families or students for the accounts. The incentives and scholarships are available. I've talked about the various deposit channels, again, direct deposit, online banking, in-branch deposits, and by mail. The funds are available for any post-secondary education. This may be vocational school, 2-year community college, or even 4-year institutions. There's no impact on any public benefits eligibility, and these are deposit-only accounts. They can't go to the bank, ask for the balance, ask to take out the money. Really, when they go to the bank, if they were to go to the bank and make a deposit, it is only to deposit. Citibank takes it, won't answer any questions from the parents. We do allow for emergency withdrawals. In case something comes up, we allow the families to take out the funds that they've contributed. To date, we've had maybe half a dozen families that have come to us for emergency withdrawals. Situations such as the car broke down, child had emergency dental work done and they needed the funds. So there hasn't been a lot of those. Other than that, it's deposit only. If a family leaves the school district, there are other things that they can do. They can keep the account open or they can close it. We will automatically close the account if there are no funds when the student leaves the school district. So funds allocation. So when we talk about the funds going into the accounts, we actually think about them in 2 separate ways. On the left-hand side, contributions and gifts. So the ones on the left, they really belong to the student or the family. It's available for emergency withdrawals. Now, the difference between contributions and gifts. Contributions are the funds that students might put in, families, friends. Anyone can put money into the account. If they have the account number, anyone can walk into the bank, put money in for that student. The contributions that the students and families put in are eligible for incentives, and I'll go through the incentives in a little bit. Gifts, however, are usually funds that may be provided by a third party, and we usually don't allow those to be eligible for incentives. So a gift might be, and here's my wildest dream, if the Golden State Warriors came and said, we want to give $100 to every student at this school, that would be considered a gift, and we wouldn't be on the hook for the incentives. But those funds belong to the student. On the right-hand side are incentives and scholarships. These funds belong to K2C. We hold them, and we release them only if the students attend post-secondary education. So it's really held there. The incentives are there to give extra funds and encouragements for families to save or to take a certain action. Scholarships are, as any other scholarships that you might think about that students apply for when they go to college, we are offering the ability to earn scholarships at a younger age. We piloted this a few years ago. Some schools were able to raise some funds on their own. The PTA might raise some funds. They've given scholarships to kindergartners through all the grades. They've ranged in amounts from $5, and the most we've heard now has been $500. We'll work with the schools or whoever wants to provide those scholarships to put them in there. They've earned them for Student of the Month, Perfect Attendance, Good Citizenship Awards, Spelling Bee Contest winner, art contests, a lot of creative things that the schools might want to emphasize or focus on. So our incentives, we've changed them from when they first started. We used to have match incentives for the first $100 plus some other safe, steady incentives. We did a revamping of it, looking at it, and we changed them November 1st of 2017. So currently, we were trying to focus on families to take action immediately and really focus on that first year after the accounts are opened. So that first one, the $10 Save Now bonus, is a one-time $10 bonus if a contribution is made within that first 2 months after the account is opened. The next is Save Monthly bonus. If a family or student can save $10 or more in any month, we will give them a $10 bonus. And they can do this up to 6 times that first year. So a family might want to save maybe January, February, March, and then maybe they have a bad month and they can't get back on their feet until maybe June, July, and then maybe again in December. They can do this up to 6 times where we would give them an additional $10 for that month. So there they would have $70. We have another incentive, $20 account registration bonus that can be done at any time. Is we're really asking families to go online and check your balance. Be on top of it, get into that practice, into that habit. So the first time they would do this, they would register there, creating a user ID or username and a password, and registering their student's, their child's account number. Then they can go online at any time to check the balance. So the first time they do this, we would give them $20. So they're eligible for $90 additional to that $50 seed. Now, this last one you'll notice is a growth amount, and it's based on the amount saved by the family. We get a lot of questions about whether the accounts earn interest. Technically, we tell the families, no, there's no interest that you would earn from depositing in your K2C account. However, what we do is the accounts are all held in one big account that the city owns, and we get interest from that. So we take the interest and we put it into our private account where we hold all the funds for our incentives. We regroup, and then we give it back to them as an incentive. So that growth amount is considered an incentive and will be held until the student goes to post-secondary education. We may consider other incentives, considering on an annual basis, depending on funding and what we have, but this is currently what we have today. So our progress to date, as of January 2019, we have over 33,000 accounts held by students in the school district. We have over 800 accounts of those who've left the school district with funds. So when a student leaves the school district, if there are no funds in their account, we will automatically close the account, and we will recover that $50 seed funding. If the student leaves the school district and they have funds in their account, we give them the option whether to keep the account open or to close it. If they decide that they want to close the account, we will give them their contributions and their gifts, the funds that were on the left side of the previous slide. They get those money. All incentives and scholarships go back to K2C. That's if they want to close it. If they want to keep the account open, they can keep the account open. No new incentives will be provided, but they get to keep the incentives for post-secondary education. And they are also eligible to keep saving in the account if they want to. And we do have quite a few families, about several hundred of the 800 families continue to save in their K2C account after they've left the school district. We service over 90 schools, 25% 8th graders, 50% 7th graders. Again, those were our pilot year students. All K through 6th graders have an account. Technically not exactly 100%, it's 99.9%. We have about 300 students who have opted out of the program. We give families 2 weeks notice after the start of the school year every semester if they want to opt out, and we will not open an account for them. And about 300, a little over 300 students do not have accounts. Various reasons. Some families have said their students have special needs and don't anticipate going to college. Some are saying they're here temporarily for a year or two and they plan to leave, so they don't want to manage this account. So there are different reasons that people have cited. Currently, there's $6.1 million saved for all those 33,000 students in the school district. $3.6 million saved by the families themselves. Now, if we add in those who have left the school district, those 800 accounts who've left the school district with funds, we can say that over $4 million have been saved by the families themselves, and that K2C has added their funds, and so there's 6.5 to 6.6 million that are saved and ready for students when they go to college. As of last school year in June, we have a 20% saver rate. In other words, 1 out of 5 students or their families have made at least one deposit into their account, and you'll see they've saved over $500 on average. I also mentioned those school scholarships. As of the last school year, there have been over 1,500 scholarships given to 1,300 students. Some of those students received more than one scholarship. They were given out at 27 schools. So we're looking at the depth of engagement, and this is as of March 2018. We've noticed, and we're happy, that families in even our poorest neighborhoods are saving. So 14% of our population in the poorest neighborhoods saved almost $500, over $400. Low-income families are saving. Half of our savers, more than half of our savers, are in the National School Lunch Program, and again, they're saving close to $500. Our African American and Latino families are saving 9% of African Americans and 12% of Latino families, and that's as of about March 2018. Currently, about 12% of our African Americans are saving and 14% of Latinos are saving. So those numbers are going up. Sometimes people ask us about, well, how are families saving and what channels? So I took a screenshot here. You can see how they're doing and where they're saving. The orange shows those who save at the branch. So you can see on the left-hand side, from the beginning to now, 27% of our families have made deposits at the branch. The deposits have been made there. But over time, there are fewer and fewer. You'll see the light blue. Those are bill pay or online banking, and that seems to be more popular as time goes on. You'll see that those who bank by mail, it's been pretty steady, that 10 to 12%, and that direct deposit has been 30 to 33%. When we say year to date, that is from the fiscal year July 1, year to date. So the account structure, how does this all work? The City of San Francisco opens all the accounts using our tax ID number, and we have sub-accounts for each student. And the city provides basic information obtained from the school district to Citibank. And so what we get from the school district is basically the name, the address, the date of birth, the school the students are attending, and the student ID. We get that. It's general directory information that the school district is allowed to share with another government entity. So we can get that information from the school district, and that's enough information for Citibank to open the accounts for us. When the accounts are open, we will send the parents their account number, and they can start making deposits. The money is held in the child's name until used for post-secondary education. We track the contributions and incentives through the City Start Savings. That's the management portal that City has built for us and made available for us. And the parents are available to view their account online. They can go directly to mysavingsAccount.com/K2C, or they can go to our website where there is a link. So basically what this looks is that the city has 4 accounts with Citibank. The first one is what I'll call the public funds. So these are the funds that the city and county of San Francisco from the general budget hands over to the kindergarten to college program. So it provides the seed funds and the equity funding for free and reduced lunch students. The second account is what I'll call our private funds. These are funds that we get from grants, private donations. They provide the incentives and the scholarship funds. Disbursement account is basically a zero account, like a checking account. When a student leaves the school district and they want their money back, or as an emergency withdrawal, we will transfer funds from the student's account into the disbursement account and write a check. Now, on the right-hand side, we call it the student account. It's one huge account with 34,000 sub-accounts under it. And so it'll be student A with their own 15-digit account number, student B with their own unique account number, and that account, the student account, that one huge account, holds all the contributions and the gifts. So it belongs to the students and the families. Right? Now, when a student goes online to look at their account, it is through the Citibank portal that they'll see a merger of the numbers from the student account and from the other accounts, the public funds and the private funds. They'll see a picture of the 3 accounts sort of merging, but they really won't notice. And I'll have a sample for you so you'll get a better idea. For those who like to see it visually, what really happens, on the left-hand side, you'll see San Francisco Unified School District represented in yellow. The green is City and County of San Francisco, and that orange color Citibank on the right. So the school district hands student information over to the City and County of San Francisco, and with that basic information, we can shoot that over to Citibank to get the accounts opened. Citibank will give us all the account numbers using our tax ID. With the account numbers we get for the students, we're able to send to the families a welcome kit. Now, we do this through the schools. The school distributes it. For those who are returning students, not the new students, they'll get activity statements, and we try to do that twice a year, 1 per semester, so families can remember that they have an account and see how well they're doing. And so after this is all going, here's what happens. Families can make deposits directly into Citibank. They can go online to view how they're doing, how the account's doing. We can get information from Citibank, reports, query how it's going, get numbers, again, the deposit channels, so forth and so on. We get a lot of information from that management portal. And then from SFUSD, we get additional information. So the families who signed that release of information form were able to get that data, whether they qualify for the free or reduced lunch or the National School Lunch Program, and then we can then give them that little extra bump of money. The welcome kit that we send home holds a lot of information. We used to just call it a welcome packet. It's really turned into a kit. You'll see right in the middle is this little welcome letter, And on the bottom right-hand side of that letter is a tear out. It becomes their card. It has their account number. They can keep it in their wallets. We show them the incentives and give them an example of how much they can earn if they take all these actions. On the left-hand side, you'll see this little start here. We give them a little checklist of like, this is a lot of information, just start here. This is what you can start to do. Of course, the program rules are included. We also give them a brochure of how to start saving. And so it'll tell them like what you have to do if you want to make a cash deposit, if you want to do it by mail, if you want to do it by bill pay, and on the back side of this is how do you do it with direct deposit. In this kit also, we give them a bank by mail envelope. We also give them a direct deposit slip that they can fill out and hand it to their employer. And then we also include the release of information form that they can submit to the school or send it directly to us so that we can get the data from the school district. Here is a sample activity statement that the families can go online, take a look at, print off. You'll see that they'll know that when was the last time they went on the system to look at the balance. And you'll see the contributions that the families have made, as well as the incentives that the city has provided for them. And even in a little chart so they can see how they're doing. You'll see that their total contribution is $100. That's their funds. The total incentives, that's the funds that the city provides. Those are the incentives and the scholarships and then the total amount. Again, the funds are held separately in the bank, but this is like record keeping, and as far as the families are concerned, they've got $230 saved and ready for their child to go to college. It even breaks it down further in them by date, their growth incentive that they may have gotten, the bonus that they got here for $10, and their deposits that they've contributed. All right, we talked about San Francisco Unified School District as our key partner. We work with them very closely. Generally, here's what really happens. Our Board of Education gives us general support. They're aware of the program. There's district-wide awareness, again, of kindergarten to college. Whether it's kindergarten or even to the high school level, most people in the school district are aware of the program. The departments that we collaborate most closely with are listed here below. The Student, Family, and Community Support, they're our key players. Then we work closely with the College and Career Curriculum and Instruction. We develop programs jointly, suggest things that they could do at the school. And then we have the Counseling and Post-Secondary Success. Those are our counselors. Even in high school counselors, they're now aware that the middle schoolers are coming up, and even now looking at the elementary school. When I first approached the school district, they were really looking at the high school and maybe even the middle schools, but not really thinking about elementary. And I sort of told them, I was like, we're working at the elementary, help us out, we're not educators, and wouldn't it be great if we can start making this go pathway from kindergarten to college. And they've been great about working with us. A few years ago, we created a college kit. We called it Roadmap to College. We jointly collaborated to help the schools provide lessons that they can give in as short as 15 minutes or making them even longer. There were 9 themes that really helped for that building that college-going cultures, 18 lessons. We built them in every school. Elementary school has a college kit with things for bulletin boards in addition to the lessons, to the books. It's a complete kit. Again, collaborating with the College and Career Curriculum Department and the Counseling and Post-Secondary Success Group. The Educational Placement Center provides us with the student data. The Distribution Center helps us get all those welcome kits out, flyers, other information. They get the information out to the schools for distribution. Communication Department works with us with media, announcing things, getting information on their website. And of course, there's always research and data. The research department's been great about sharing information with us, and we work with them. The school materials are opt-out form. Again, we allow families to opt out if they really don't want an account. That form is in the Student and Family Handbook. It's produced once a year, handed out, so we're listed in there. Also, when families register at a school, we are on their checklist. So the school must hand out the emergency card, the medical history forms to the families. Also on that list is general information about kindergarten to college, and again, the information that families can opt out, so they're aware that even though it's universal, they do have a chance to say no. And of course, the schools are great partners. Again, every single school must identify a staff member to be a K2C ambassador. So when we work with the schools, we go through training. We have a training. Their ambassadors come to us, and we suggest these kinds of school engagement. We are at kindergarten orientation, back to school night. We've been invited to graduations and promotion ceremonies to talk to them. The schools distribute the welcome kits and they count information packets. Again, we have talked about that roadmap to college, so they have those lessons and they can deliver them in the classrooms. The training is provided. We also provide a stipend to those ambassadors who come to the training. Of course, we are involved and invited, and we speak at Parent-Teacher Association or Parent-Teacher Organization meetings. A few years ago, we started classroom field trips. It's great. Kindergarten to third grader teachers can bring a whole class to City Bank. We provide a 10-minute lesson on a financial lesson. They get about a 10-15-minute tour of the branch, and every single student makes a deposit into their account. So they learn about banking, they learn about saving. We started this for the students, and then we realized that there were many families who had never stepped foot in a bank and had no idea what to do. So we now offer bank field trips for parents or guardians. Many of them are immigrants, not in the mainstream financially, so this is something new to them. And to our surprise, and maybe it shouldn't have been a surprise, some of them have to come back 2 or 3 times into these field trips before they feel secure and confident enough to make a deposit into their child's account. We provide scholarships for students. Again, some of them are done by the schools. They fundraise, or could be we've had one parent came to us and thought that there were some students in her school that deserve scholarships and literally wrote a check for these scholarships for these students. We've held our own art contest. So to reach out to the 5th graders, because we thought about then, the students, not the families, but the students really ought to be able to understand about these accounts. And so we had the theme, Saving for College, doing an art contest. Every school that participated got a chance to select their own winner, and that winner got a $25 scholarship. And each school winner's submission was submitted to K2C, and we selected the top 3 city winners who had got an additional scholarship of $100, $75, or $50 scholarship into their account. And we provided one of the winners the artwork that they sent in. Some of the schools have workshops that they or community partners assist with to help parents check their balances. I spoke about that $20 registration bonus for families, that incentive. So some of the schools are holding workshops to say, come on parents, we'll help you work through that, and you can get your $20 additional bonus in your child's account. Something we started this year that's been a lot of fun, college rallies or school deposit days. And so we've had rallies where the principal cheers up and talks about going to college, the teachers all wearing their college sweatshirts and talking about their experiences in college. We go there and we talk about how to save for college and that they all have accounts. And then we follow up with a school deposit immediately where we play bankers. We get volunteers, some of our community partners come and join us, and we literally play bankers. The students line up with actual real bank deposit tickets with their real money, whether it's $1, $5, 25 cents that they bring in, and they come up to us and they say, I want to make a deposit in my college savings account. So it is really that experience of making a deposit and what that really means. Even students who do not bring money, who didn't have money to make a deposit, they will come up to us and we do it as a practice, and they get a receipt that they can take home. Our partner then takes the funds that the students all contribute and they do the running it to the bank. We do a lot of the bank and work on it, but it's been great, so students can now make deposits at schools. We also provide schools scorecards to let them know how they're doing. And so here's a sample of a school scorecard. We give them the numbers of how their saver rate, what percent of their families have made a deposit, the total amount that is saved by the families at that school, and the average amount. But again, when the school looks at that, they don't know, is that good? Is that bad? How am I doing? So we help them color code it a little bit. We also list comparable schools. Not all the schools, but like a school that might be similar to them, so they can see how they're doing in comparison to another school. And then, of course, we give them how the district overall is doing. Now, we have ambassadors, or at least the superintendent has asked every school to provide an ambassador, but not every ambassador has been trained. And admittedly, there are some ambassadors who are very active and supportive, and some ambassadors who might be a little too busy to worry about K2C. But when we looked at the ones who are trained and not trained, they made a huge difference. So you'll see the dotted lines, and that dotted line represents the schools without ambassadors and their saver rate at those schools. The solid gray line are the schools. That's the entire district over. They should have ambassadors, but they might not have been trained. But you'll see the dashed line, the black dashed line. They're all very similar until we got through training last year on March 1st. We finished some training classes. And you can see the difference of those who came to the training class with trained ambassadors and their schools, and the difference in the saver rate made a huge difference. And the ambassadors that came for our training, here are the suggested school activities that they could bring back to the school. Again, presentations to the rest of the staff, presentations at the schools, maybe doing those kindergarten orientations, those back-to-school nights. Some schools do workshops. If they can incorporate K2C into those workshops, encourage them to participate in our K2C contests, like our art contests. All the contests, all the schools that participate had trained ambassadors. They go back and they sign up for classroom field trips for their other teachers, other school students there, sign them up. They also, some of them coordinate parent-guardian field trips, not just for the classrooms. They also share information about our bank days. Now, our bank days are when the K2C staff are at city banks on select days. So it might be on a Saturday. We make it a festive occasion. We encourage families to come in, ask questions. We do giveaways. So it's sort of a fun thing for families to come, bring their kids, show their kids how to make a deposit. So the schools share that information to this entire population at the school. We have at-school deposit events we talked about. They use the Roadmap to College curriculum. They could provide their own school scholarships. And this last one we just did for fun a couple of months ago is we went into some classrooms and we asked the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they said, I want to be. And we took a photo of what they want to be when they grow up. My favorite one is still that one in the top center there when she said, I want to be taller. I think that will happen. So that was fun to do. We've made some of these into posters so that the school can hang them up. The teachers have them hanging up the front door so the kids can remember, I want to be a doctor. And that other people would start to look at those children, not as just little kids, but future doctors or firefighters. I'm still trying to figure out what a sonic hedgehog is. Okay, and community engagement beyond the schools. We have partners. Actually, right now we have 6 community partners we have agreements with that work with us. And their job, they're out in the community. Some of them work with after-school programs. Some of them do outreach to families before the families start kindergarten. So different reasons, but they're in the communities. They provide a lot more cultural support, maybe language support that we don't have. They know the families, they know their communities. So they help us with increasing K2C awareness. They encourage the deposits. They're trusted. So to talk about this, families are more willing to follow along and say, okay, it's okay to make deposits in the bank. They help us collect release of information forms. They're at community events anyway, at festivals and fairs, so they represent a K2C at those events, again, talking about the program. They conduct their own workshops and presentations to help families understand the program. They help and collect family interviews and surveys, providing us with information. So we know what's working, what's not working, what we might need to tweak to help the families out there. They conduct some bank field trips for us. They support that deposit collection. And some of them hold their own deposit events. Maybe an after-school program may say, hey, you can't make it to the bank, we'll take the deposit for you to the bank. Again, they help us with the account registration workshops, that checking of the account balance online. They'll help families do that. And they support the parents whenever there are families or issues when they're not sure, I lost my account. Some of our partners are able to help them look up those bank account numbers. Our program collateral, we've shown you most of what we have, but one additional one that we have is this little small card. That's our brochure, or we call it our info card. We found that this was enough information for a lot of families. When they came and asked general information, even the general population, that says, I've heard about this thing, what is it? We can give them this card that says, look, it's open to automatically for all students, it's universal, no fees. They can earn additional money with incentives. They can use the funds for any higher educational costs. You have various ways to make the deposits, and there's no impact on public benefits or eligibility. That's usually enough for most people. We get a lot of people who are fearful about, am I going to lose the free food I get, low income housing. They're scared about losing those public benefits, and yet we tell them you do not have to report it. The funds are held by the city, not by you. So it doesn't have that asset limit kind of issues. And of course, the big thing are always the giveaways. The coin banks, we give a different one every year so the kids can collect different ones if they want. Those pencil stickers, flashlights are huge hits. Hand sanitizers are big hits with the families, the parents. We've had some fun things with lunch boxes and Frisbees, and I will tell you, those are big hits. People will come to events based on those giveaways. So that's basically it. You're welcome to come give us a call, email us. First, look at our website. Maybe the answer might be there if you have some questions. It's www.k2csf.org. Email us at k2c@sfgov.org or call us. You can reach us. If you're in San Francisco, just call 311, or outside of San Francisco, call 415-701-2311. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. We hope you got a lot out of it.